the recent address from the president and with the lockdown being extended, I thought it might be a good time to talk about the significance of the fruit of the Spirit and a concept called forbearance or patience, and throw in a little bit about the psychology of waiting lines and what that can teach us about ourselves in order to help us wait a little bit better. Galatians 5:22 and 23 says this: "But the fruit of the Spirit is love, joy, peace, forbearance," or some translations say patience, kindness, goodness, faithfulness, gentleness, and self-control. And as I said in one of the first videos, if this was all we did for the rest of our lives would look very different, and the people around us would experience us very differently. Fruit is the result of a relationship with God, and this is a gift. Like any fruit though, fruit needs to be cultivated. We can leave a gift in a cupboard, or we can use it and enjoy its benefits. And forbearance is one of those gifts that is worth using all of the time with whatever we're waiting for, whether it's for this lockdown period, or whether it's an illness or a diagnosis, whether it's in a relationship or in a conversation that we are having, or just in the simple routines of our everyday life, like standing in a line or dealing with an internet that's not working. If you do a study on the original word patience or forbearance, you'll find that it has far more oomph to it than meets the eye with the English translation. It refers to an ability to endure persecution and even ill treatment. It describes a person who has the power to exercise revenge, but instead exercises restraint. And it refers to the capacity to continue to bear up under difficult circumstances, not with passive complacency, but with this thing called hopeful fortitude. Clearly, God knew that we might need a healthy dose of forbearance in our journeys through life. In a fascinating paper on the psychology of waiting lines, David Meister, a former Harvard Business School professor, gives some great insight on time. He explains that the measured amount of time that we wait has very little to do with how long the wait actually feels. In other words, even a 2-minute wait can feel like nothing at all, or it can feel like forever. He proposes that there are 8 aspects to waiting that makes waiting feel longer. And it's really worth having a look at the original paper, if not only just to give you some amusement the next time you wait in a line. One of his proposals is that unfair waits seem longer than equitable waits. And here is where I want to apply this. This is where that comparison thing comes in. For many of us, this waiting seems incredibly unfair. Some are resting, others are working. Some have income and others don't. Some are secure and others aren't secure. And some have an endless food supply. And others are wondering where the next meal is going to come from. And those who are feeling that it's unfair for whatever reason, as you recognize it and name it, it's quite helpful. It's difficult to work on something if you don't know it exists or if it doesn't have a name. And then as you get to know yourself, it's helpful to observe the impact it's having on you, the feelings, the thoughts, and particularly the behavior that it's producing. And then if thinking is your happy place, replace it with thoughts on what forbearance and patience is, and tap into what is already available and given to us. And if you're more of a feeler, come into the moment and just breathe in patience, this capacity to endure, to exercise restraint, to bear up under difficult circumstances, not with passive complacency, but with hopeful fortitude. Leaning into the Spirit and engaging in God's presence gives us strength, and God transforms us in His presence. His presence is not something that we go to on a Sunday or turn on when we play worship music. He is ever present. He's present in our emotional flooding, which is a topic I'm going to cover soon. He's present in our most frustrating moments when we are the worst versions of ourselves. He is present, and He's loving us and available to equip us. Sometimes just being aware of the gift that He's already given us and accessing it, what can really happen just in a moment as we turn towards it. There are so many tools in our toolkit that we forget we have access to, and patience is one of them that we can access with just a better understanding of what it is and go to it in any moment that it's needed. I hope that is helpful for you, and I'll see you next time.